Union Jack Smith. Hi, Sam. You quoted Ole a few days back about voting for the less evil, but you conveniently didn't mention how powerful black women like Ole and Rebecca Azar have shown their real concerns with Kamala's candidature, and the skepticism they have is different from the white woman optimism that Emma shows every hour now. Please feature them. Now is the time. We can do rich people Zoom meetings and ensure working class minorities turn out to vote. And we can't do rich people Zoom meetings and ensure working and poor working class minorities turn out to vote. Well, I mean, but first of all, I don't know why anybody would stay at home because there's a rich people Zoom meeting, if that's what it is. But happy to have Ole back on the show. It has been, as you know, 5 or 6 days since Kamala Harris has been the nominee. I mean, maybe even the official one is probably maybe 4 days. But there's a difference. And I have reservations about Harris in terms of what kind of president she'll be. I don't have any reservations in terms of like whether A, she can win. I think she can win. I don't think it's a guarantee at all. It turned out not to be a guarantee when Hillary Clinton had 99% chance of winning. I suspect that the Harris campaign is pretty keyed in to driving out the vote for black women. I would suggest that if they don't, and they're not thinking they can do, or focused on that, then yes, they're going to lose. I haven't watched Ole's show in the past couple of days.
Although I would guess that white women will probably vote for Harris in less numbers proportionally than black women at the end of the day, based on
Democrats always lose whites.
Yeah, I don't know if either I should be talked about as a white woman representative. Neither should Ole be talked about as a black woman representative. She has her own politics, and she's an activist and a lawyer, and so she is somebody who's trying to reform our jail and prison system. Probably has a pretty critical view of her prosecutorial record. I would think so. I would think so, and we have too. My optimism is more based in where the Democratic Party is versus where we were previously, because of the fact that we did get some really good things done during Biden's singular term domestically, and that you have things like Prem Tucker now of Zateo reporting that Harris was the only person who reached out to the guest of Rashida Tlaib, who is a Palestinian American who lost 150 members of their family in Gaza. The only person that reached out while my family was being genocided was Vice President Kamala Harris, is the quote. I don't know if that's white woman optimism. This is just like I could be wrong. It's just my honest read of the political situation, and it's not about the person. It's about where the Democratic Party is and where half the caucus is not showing up to that speech. I'm just speaking about their self-interest. And then if she just continues Biden's domestic policy and builds on it, we're in a good position. So that's where my optimism lies.
Galaxy says, whoa, Rebecca is K-Hive. I mean, I don't know where they stand, but I'm unclear as to whether there's a critique of optimism about Harris as president or optimism about her chances to win. Those are two different things. I mean, I just want to remind people fundamentally that, at least speaking for myself, but I don't think I'm too far off with everybody else here. We feel, or I feel, that Donald Trump has to be beaten.
Yep. That
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance cannot be in the White House. I would also say that I don't want the Republicans to have a majority in the House or the Senate. I think that's crucial. I don't know, frankly, if it will make a difference in the near term because of how effed we are because of the courts, because Donald Trump won in 2016. But I do know that my experience is it can always get worse because over the course of 20 years, it has. Politics actually on the Democratic side have improved.
Yep.
I also know that there is value in being critical of Harris at this time in strategic ways to sort of box in where her positions are. I think all this stuff that is getting churned up about Lena Khan is actually a positive because, and this is the thing I think people don't fully understand, and particularly if she is not as ideological one way or another, I think, frankly, in many respects. The more of a hassle it would be for her administration to exert effort to get rid of Lena Khan, the better. And the only way that you can communicate that is to stir up the waters and show that there will be some type of pushback. There is no way, I don't believe, that Kamala Harris feels strongly one way or another about she's going to risk her presidency on Lena Khan. They're going to look and see, like, what is this amount of pushback we have on something like this? And if it looks like it's too much, we're not going to dedicate our resources there. We're not going to expend our political capital. We're not going to do, and you know, part of this test is going to be what we see with who the VP is. We'll get a sense of like where they feel they're weak, where they feel they can alienate people or they can't alienate people. So, I mean, and particularly if like my primary, life's work was in criminal defense, I would also be extremely skeptical of Kamala Harris on that point. And I still am. I don't know if she feels that, or, the people around her, by she, I mean, like, Kamala Corp or whatever it is, feels like they need to project in the way that she probably did in San Francisco as a black woman, that she tough on crime and, tough on those things. I don't know if they, I just don't know.
That was a lot.
I think it's a legitimate concern.
Legitimate. Totally legitimate.
But I also, I'm curious about the distinction between optimism as to whether Donald Trump can be defeated or optimism as to this is going to be a great presidency.
Well, we don't know that.
The former, yeah. I mean, to me, it's like finally there's a chance to beat Trump, which I didn't think. I think Trump was a foregone conclusion before Biden dropped out. As to her presidency, I think it's going to be a mix, and there's going to be quite a lot that is not to like. And, I don't know. I'm not going to write any promises for her administration because I don't know what she's not going to have a big majority, or any, like Biden did. Frankly, he had both houses to start with. That's not going to happen with Kamala.
We don't know. It could.
You think so?
It could.
Yes, just win Texas.
She can't win. No, that's 51. She loses.
Okay,
if she doesn't win Texas, she still has 50 with the tiebreak.
Okay.
Yep.
So 1 vote difference in the Senate, and then
the only guaranteed loss right now is West Virginia.
Yep, and that Montana would have to hold, and then in 2026 the Senate map is much more favorable. So yeah, I mean, you could call it. I think it's not fair to say it's white woman optimism. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm just trying to read where the party is versus other points in history where Biden governed in a way domestically that exceeded some of our expectations. And I think that someone who co-sponsored the Green New Deal and tried to position herself at one point to run for president as somebody who would be friendly to the left, I think it just stands to reason that she would also be receptive to that kind of agenda. So I think it's if we're seeing polling and how there's a huge difference in how young women are viewing this versus how young men are viewing this, that might be part of it. But I don't think I'm biased as a white woman in this instance. I'm just trying to call it the way I see it, which, not to brag, I've been kind of on point for the past few weeks. Two
IMs, and then we're gonna take a phone call. I mod for Becca. Her take is we don't have time to celebrate because right now we have a lot of work to do to make sure Trump loses and little time to do it. I recommend the audience check out her show, like it or not, the last couple of Saturdays. I would agree with that assessment. Chicago Steve, the reality is we'll never know whether Harris is a good president until she gets there. I was very nervous about Pritzker for governor in Illinois, and he's been fantastic. I thought Lightfoot would be a great mayor, and she was not. To go national, Obama governed far more conservatively than I expected.
Exactly.
Yes, I think that's true. I do think that there is value, and it's like, you know, and particularly for stuff like, you know, like Alina Khan, which is far more important than I think most people care about. But so you actually there's room to be like, don't fire Lena Khan and to, you know, question that, create a stink, but not in any way inhibit sort of like the momentum, the enthusiasm, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.